Card. Alright. Welcome back to Lost in the World. Today we're going to be doing a New World video. We're going to be discussing what the game is like for a new player, for someone who's coming into an MMO, maybe for the first time or maybe not in a very long time, what the negatives are of the game, what the positives are, things that they can improve, because there's definitely things that can improve. But then again, no MMO has ever been released fully complete. I mean, if you look at World of Warcraft when it first came out, or Final Fantasy XIV when it first came out, the product is very different to what you have now. And Amazon's New World will be no different. Obviously, New World has the unlimited resources of Amazon behind it. So I think it's fair to say that you will be expecting a lot of positive changes for the game going forward. But I think the question still is, at a baseline, where is the game at now? Is it worth the money to buy? And what does the future look like for New World? My overall experience, just to give you a quick summary before we go into the finer details at the start, is really positive of New World, actually. I'm pleasantly surprised by it. I'm very hooked straight away. I really like the game world. I like the aesthetic of the game. It's very consistent throughout, the aesthetic of the game. And I like the crafting element of it, which is a huge part of the game, which we'll jump into a little bit more in a minute. There's definitely things that could be improved, mostly quality of life things. And the good thing about that is that that's an easy fix for a company like Amazon. Well, for any company, you'd hope so anyway. Quality of life is like a design decision, really. And a lot of decisions you feel like that are negative about New World, feels like it's a purposeful choice by the directors or the game producers or whoever. And I have no issues with that if that's like a design choice to make. Like, we don't all have the same ideas on game design and the same idea of how to execute a vision for a game. I think their vision is one, it's in the game title, of a new world. Like, you're part of this whole world, they wanted to experience it, but I do think they've gone a bit too far on it. But anyway, let's go into positives, a couple of positives and a couple of negatives, and we'll keep jumping back and forth on the positives and negatives. Positives, firstly, as I said, the world is awesome. It's really pretty at times. I mean, an MMO that's generating such a large space, such a large volume, is not going to be, you know, extremely high level in terms of graphics, because you got the processing power behind it. But the game looks good, it looks decent, and when you go into the corrupted areas, there's a real good atmosphere about the corrupted areas, and a kind of a feeling that you're going somewhere where things are not quite right. The game feels living. Now, this is actually going to feed into the negative I'm going to go into, but it's a bit of a coincidental or ironic positive. The game world feels alive because everybody's everywhere, everyone's walking everywhere, so you always see people in the world, you're always seeing massive groups of people. You're always seeing the opposition, like, trying to invade a fort, or, you know, the enemy factions trying to invade a fort. You're always seeing people just chopping wood outside in the game, in the main mission areas. And it makes the game world feel alive. It makes you feel part of a community. And that's a really positive thing. Going on to a negative thing about that, you have to fucking walk everywhere. You literally are walking forever in this game. Thank God there's an auto walk, otherwise I'm pretty certain I'd have to have like an operation on my joints and my fingers. It's not getting too old yet. I say yet. There's a lot of walking. The fast travel seems to be a conscious choice by Amazon to make you be part of the world. I don't like that choice. It's quite frankly can kill a lot of momentum. You can be doing quests and stories, and I mean, the map's huge, but you'd have to travel. For example, just now I've walked from here all the way from here, and I could fast travel. The negative about fast traveling is you have a currency here called Azoth, and you collect it by killing enemies and doing missions, but it goes up and down, and you've got to really choose when you fast travel. You can't fast travel everywhere. You got to pick and choose when you want to fast travel. I'm not huge on that. I don't like that choice. If I was them, I would really reduce the cost of that if they want to stick to that, just to make people walk to places and keep the local areas alive. But I would reduce the cost of fast travel. I just make it a flat 50 to go anywhere and keep the current rate, rather than now it can cost almost 200 to go to certain places. No map on the screen is, again, a choice to keep the UI as clean as possible. Again, this comes as part of trying to... There's already a fair bit on the screen as is. And then my guess is they don't want any more on the screen, so they've gone for a map where you press M to go to the map. Yeah, I'm not too keen on that either. I'm not too keen on that in most games, to be fair. That isn't just a New World thing. You do have a good minimap. It does show you a lot of info on the minimap, which is nice. the compass, whatever you want to call it. Sorry, not the mini map. But yeah, don't mind that choice. To be fair, I guess I could learn to live with the map. But it's a point I wanted to make for people who maybe might find that annoying. Let's go into some faction stuff then. That's a nice to lead into some positives and a few more negatives because again they're intertwined. The faction stuff is quite cool. I haven't delved too much into PvP. I've just got to level 25, which is at the first main cooperative PvE dungeon, which is why I decided to make this video now. The faction stuff is cool. You get to choose a faction. I chose Syndicate. Screw you all Syndicate haters. There's Marauders and there's Covenant. They all have their own kind of philosophies and ideals. I think as a base, like where they've started with the faction is good. It doesn't quite work in reality at the moment. I think if you do end up with lopsided factions, you can keep losing forts. You have forts, you can fight for them. You need a fair bit of organization to win an area. But yeah. Oh shit, I'm getting attacked. I think. Yeah, but it's cool. The negative about faction is they're trying to really incentivize you to invade and raid other areas by tying a lot of things to faction reputation. For example, every single main city in this area, so you got these main areas here, they have their own storage, and to get access to the storage from different cities, you need to win that fort. And the negative is there, if I, let's say, find a really rare gem, and I want to leave it in a fort, I've got to go all the way back to that fort to get that item. It's not just in a massive stash box that you can access from anywhere. I really don't like that system. I've got stuff in a variety of different cities, a variety of different areas, and I don't know what's where. It's hard to keep track of it. Maybe later on that opens up. Maybe that's something that, you know, you can get further down the line. I'd like to see that changed. I really would. That's not a hard, big change for them to make. Make a universal stash. I've got stuff here. I've got stuff here. I've got stuff here. I've got stuff down here. I've got stuff, you know, everywhere. And I'm not too keen on that system, to be fair. Adding to that, you've got the encumberment system, which you can only carry a certain amount of things. You do, as you get higher level, get bigger bags, so this may be alleviated. I haven't got to level 30 or 45 yet. I did get to, I think it was level 15. And you get an extra 50, so I'm assuming these will be an extra 50 each, maybe an extra 100, which may help. But the crafting system in this game is really deep. There's a lot of things to craft. You're talking everything from wood to ores to minerals to absolutely everything. Rocks, boulders, God knows what else. Fish, anything, meat. And it encumbers you, and you basically can't run. Not a huge fan of that system, but it looks like there are ways to alleviate it through bags, which you can see down here. So, you know, maybe that'll be okay. Okay, let's go on to things that some people have flagged as possible negatives, but I think I really like and I think are positives. Combat, I like combat. I like the dodging in combat. It makes you think a bit. You can dodge attacks. It is kind of skill-based. So you can end up going into like a dungeon and you can dodge in the enemy attacks and getting off clutch heals. It feels good. I quite like that. Also, the class system is awesome. I really like the fact that you're not tied to a class. There is no class system. You can switch weapons whenever you feel like. You can level up and respec. It's not that expensive. 80 coins is nothing to respec, and I'm sure maybe that cost will go up as you get further into the game. But there's a lot of crossover in weapons, and you have two weapons. So for me, I run a healer build for end game things, and I run a solo hatchet build. I think further I get into the game, I'll probably respec into something like a tank and a healer build, something like that. But you can basically choose two weapons. You have 3 skills per weapon. Switch between them to give you 2 weapons and 2 different skill sets. I really like it. It gives you a lot of flexibility. It means the gameplay doesn't get too stale. You're not always using the same type of weapon or the same skills. You can respec freely. I really like the combat. It keeps it fresh. I'm not even bored of using the hatchet. I've been using it non-stop since the first minute. So I don't mind the hatchet. I don't mind the way they've done the weapon system. I really like it. In terms of attributes, it tells you clearly what goes with what. So some weapons have dual or trio scaling. Some weapons have single scaling, like the life staff. And again, it gives you a very clear indication of what points can go where. And you can just level up freely. So I'm focusing on this for now because I'm going to be running some more dungeons soon. So I'm going full healer to get healing and so my team can stay alive. But yeah, it works well. The weapon masteries are cool as well. They've got their own skill trees. Some are clearly better than others. I've gone hatchet for solo play, but as soon as you level, you open a tier and then you can freely level up on that tier. And there's 2 distinct tiers per weapon. So let's see. I will probably go for something like, let's have a look. Something that will help me stay alive. Grants 45, probably that. There we go. Done. Okay, let's go on to questing, which is funny because I've just turned up at a quest. Questing, like in a lot of MMOs or a lot of games like this, it's a bit dull. It's a bit repetitive. If you've done any quests in MMO ARPGs or World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy, it'll all be very familiar. You will definitely understand the questing here. It's very repetitive. It's very mundane. Go do it to get your XP so you get to the next tier where you can start doing better content. It's nothing special, nothing to write home about. The story itself is largely forgettable. I mean, I guess if you want to get into the story and the lore, you can. I'm never big on story and lore in a lot of games I play unless it's specifically a story-driven game. In games like this, I want to get to the end game. I want to get to end game raiding and dungeons. So yeah, that is basically where I stand on the story, to be honest. Negatives, quality of life. No matchmaking on the dungeons at the moment. Where I'm at is a negative. It takes a while to find a team. You just kind of have to hang around outside and spam in chat. I don't really like that. I'm sure they could add matchmaking easily enough. It wouldn't be that difficult, in all honesty. Positives, I love the gearing system. I love the dueling system. I love the crafting system. It all allows for a lot of customization. And we've not even scratched the surface of it yet. So if you're into gearing, min-maxing, you're into having multiple builds, this game has it all. Has a ton of stuff. You've got, sadly, I just put my gems away, which was a really bad time to put them away. But the gems add a lot of unique traits and skills to your gear. You get gem slots on gear, as you can see up here. You can have gear that adds taunting. You have gear that reduces the amount of taunt you get. You have gear that increases crit rate for your team or for yourself. And gems that do that as well. Increased healing, all sorts of stuff. The crafting and the build side of this game is really good. And it feels like it's going to have a lot of depth. So if you're worried about that, don't be. There's a lot to do in this game when it comes to that. The crafting system goes on forever. It is deep. The leveling curve is it's got slight negative. It's got some pacing issues. There's definitely big chunks of the leveling curve where there are no quests to do. You're just going to be doing the odd side mission. You're going to be doing town board quests, which is like fetch quests or go to A, collect B, bring it back to C. And you have to, do a lot of them to maybe get you to the next questing phase. So, for example, you can be at level 26, 27, and the next mage quest isn't until, let's say, 29 or 30, and it's maybe a touch too high for you. And you need to really just level up by doing these side quests. I think they could definitely even that out a bit. They could even that leveling curve out a little bit. World events instancing is basically non-existent. You're just hoping that somebody is walking by to help you in the world events. I haven't looked too much into the world events. I haven't looked too much into world events at the moment, but the ones I've done do require people, otherwise they're a bit tricky. Yeah, so instances or just matchmaking on them would be handy. There's not much matchmaking in there. Other than that, though, that is about it, really. I'm running out of storage space on my PC, I've just been told, so that is the end of the video. Yeah, good overall. If you're tempted to get involved, or you want to start an MMO at the beginning of the MMO life's journey, I think New World's a great place to start. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to do. It's never going to be like it was when WoW first came out, because that was before the age of information, before you had, massive access to the internet, guides, videos, YouTube. People forget that. People forget how much the internet has changed since World of Warcraft first came out. I don't think we'll ever get that feeling back, because there's just so much information about games before they come out, especially with betas and demos and early access and blah, blah, blah. But I think New World's awesome. I think it's got massive potential to be absolutely incredible. And Amazon have unlimited funds, so give it a crack. I don't think it could go wrong. No subscription fee, one-off fee, play the game, free content already in the works, already been leaked. So yeah, get involved. Thank you very much for watching. That is 15 minutes of New World positive and negatives. Peace out, take care, and thank you very much.